8 biblical good guys who did terrible things. 1. David was a rapist. The legendary king ushered in a golden age. He famously beat Goliath, but his illicit affair with Bathsheba is less famous. He saw the woman bathing and wanted to have her, so he summoned Bathsheba and had his way with her. Then he made sure her husband Uriah was killed in battle. 2. Solomon was an apostate. King Solomon is often associated with wisdom. His righteousness made him a perfect judge. Yet the Book of Kings mentions a curious detail. Solomon accumulated 700 wives and 300 concubines. He also adopted the pagan practices of his wives. Polygamy and apostasy are both explicitly forbidden. 3. Paul was a Pharisee lapdog. Before Paul became Jesus' disciple, his name was Saul of Tarsus. Saul's job was to root out early Christians. He would go house to house looking for them. Anyone Saul pointed to was stoned to death. One of Saul's victims was the first martyr, Saint Stephen. Then Saul had an epiphany and ended up being sainted. 4. Jacob scammed his own father. Jacob was the son of Isaac. He was later renamed Israel by God himself. Jacob became the father of the children of Israel, but he'd stolen his brother Esau's birthright. To get there, Jacob deceived Isaac by pretending to be Esau. Isaac was blind and couldn't tell the difference. 5. Lot was no better than the rest of the Sodomites. Lot lived in Sodom, the city of sin. God wanted to destroy the entire city, but angels convinced him to do a quick check first. God agreed to spare Sodom if they found a righteous man, so they paid a visit to Lot. The men of Sodom demanded he give up his guests. They wanted to rape the angels, but Lot offered them his 2 virgin daughters instead. Yet Lot was spared God's wrath when Sodom was struck down. 6. Jephthah murdered his own daughter. Jephthah was a Jewish judge, beloved by God. The Bible calls him one of the faithful, alongside David, Samuel, and Samson. Yet the guy would have been locked up today. Jephthah won a major battle against the Ammonites. He was so grateful, he promised God a burnt offering. Specifically, Jephthah said he'd sacrifice
whoever comes out from the doors of my house to meet me when I return.
It was his only daughter who did. Jephthah chastised her for bringing him low. He told her she'd be sacrificed. She asked him to give her 2 months to weep for my virginity. Jephthah did, and when she was done weeping, he killed her. 7. Elisha was a casual child murderer. Elisha was a prophet and wonder worker. Jews revere him as a patriot and a man of God. He's worshipped as a saint by Orthodox Christians. One day Elisha was on his way to Bethel. Some passing boys made fun of his baldness. The adult prophet turned around and cursed them in God's name. 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys. Elisha went on his way. 8. Samson was incredibly cruel. Another paragon of virtue was Samson, the last of the judges. His wife left him for another man, so Samson got angry and decided to take revenge. Since she was a Philistine, he decided to hurt all Philistines. Samson caught 300 foxes and tied them together. Then he lit them on fire and set them loose on Philistine crops. He burned all their grain, vineyards, and olive gardens. In response, the Philistines burned his wife alive.